Welcome back to Lazy Cinema, and on this episode we will see how Tom Hanks will portray the wonderful life of Mr. Rogers as he tried to turn one man's life from hating humanity into being the kindest man around in a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Here on Lazy Cinema. Hello everyone and welcome back to a new episode of Lazy Cinema where today we're talking about It's a Beautiful A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, directed by Mario Heller and starring Tom Hanks and both Matthew Wise. This film is definitely nothing below par above beautiful. Actually, it's more than beautiful. The way how the director works, Mrs. Hiller, is that she basically makes you feel like you're in the show, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and for me, that was just a nostalgic feel, and I was overwhelmed with nostalgia. I loved the way how she directed this film and how she turned the directing style and the production style into that similar of the show. We focused the film on a man named by Lloyd Vogel, aka, let me just see here, Tom Junnard, and who was played by excellently by the Americans co-star Matthew Wise. And Matthew does a brilliant job in this. And what I really love is that the chemistry between him and Tom Hanks as Fred Rogers really does work, and they really bring something that can't be explained onto the screen. They just have this magic, this really good momentum going between them two. It's like when they're on screen, there's a certain spark of friendship that happens between the two, and I just really love that. I mean, Matthew really pulled together what Lloyd Vogel or Tom would have really been like at the time. What was, everything that he was suffering. He had an abusive upcoming. He had a father that left him. He had a mom who died at a young age, when he was just a young boy, and then his dad just walked out on him. So, he had a very bad upbringing, but he gets to meet a man who was claimed a real life hero, and especially a magazine that I remember seeing as a little boy is Mr. Rogers and Can You Say Hero. This man was really recognized as a national icon, and Tom Hanks, my God, there is no wrong this man can do. He is epitomately, from the bottom of my heart, he is Fred Rogers. He really captures the imagination and the really gentle soul of the one Fred Rogers. And, you know, again, seeing him as Mr. Rogers, I don't know. There just needs to be something with Tom Hanks and Mr. Rogers. He really brings the chemistry to that. Now, for this film, there really is not a whole lot. If you didn't really think like there's a bunch of swearing or fighting, there is not. There is some swearing, there is some fighting, but generally it's a general wholesome film about the true story between two people who really had a unique friendship. And I remember reading once on Facebook that Mr. Rogers was one of the nicest guys around, that he even was a close friend to someone who used to drive him around all the time. So, basically, in that, it's genuinely just how this man is and how he becomes this national icon. you know. But not only that, we get to see the rise of Lloyd Vogel in this film, who we mostly see for most of the film, and how he overcomes his triumph through the help of Fred Rogers. I do have to say, though, the unique style that she used for Maury's nightmares are fantastic. How he thinks that he is one on the show, and how, maybe the way how Fred Rogers speaks to somebody is just how you want to see and feel afterwards. And before I did this review, I kind of needed a moment of like, oh God, I don't feel like myself. But this movie is so fantastic that it makes you feel a bunch of ways. And for me, definitely, I guess the best way that you could say it is that I feel amazed and happy that, he is bringing a life that most children nowadays probably would never know about, who is Fred Rogers, and bringing that emotion and that character back to life on the screen. And for someone like me, me and my older sister really did grow up with Mr. Rogers, it definitely made me feel the most happiest. And you guys probably would know of Fred Rogers, especially if you have children, through Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, who was a puppet of Fred Rogers that I completely forgot about until this film had explained it. This film did not have a long running time, about 2 hours, a little under that. But well, what it does with the time, it really shows off these characters, all these characters who were brilliantly written and beautifully brought to the screen, especially Chris Cooper, who played Jerry, who is Maury's father. He does a brilliant job catching up to the scene, and you really get to see how Maury doesn't want to be a husband, how he doesn't want to be the son of this guy, basically asshole, and how doesn't really want to be a father to his son Gavin, but having that triumphant when he rises up and does all these things for not just himself but his family as well becomes so beautiful. If you want to see one of the genuine good feel movies of the year, I really would recommend checking out A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. I bought this as a Christmas gift for my father, and definitely it really, really damn good. And especially since this came out during the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic, really was a film that we all need during these times to remind ourselves that, sometimes a little bit of kindness can go a long way. And that's definitely what Tom Hanks showed us. So Tom Hanks in this movie is Fred Rogers to me. Well, guys, thank you so much for joining me here on Lazy Cinema. I hope that you enjoyed A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. If you have seen it, let me know in the comments down below. And how about spreading a little bit of kindness yourself by liking this video, subscribing if you haven't already, and just hanging out, and also following me at Twitter, which is linked in the description down below. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Spread some kindness around your neighborhood, and well, in the words of Fred Rogers, have a good day, neighbors, and we'll see you next time.